is an SABC News presentation.
Hello masibhodise kuni nonke emakhaya nakwindawo ngendawo enibukeleni kuzo. Siyanamkela kwisiqendu sethu sale veki senkqubo yethu Yilungelo Lakho, It's Your Right. Your fast-growing consumer affairs TV show coming to you live on SABC1 Mzansi for sure. Igama lam kaloku ngusisanda Jonas, njengesiqhelo kaloku mawethu ekuhambeni kwexesha siza kunuvulela ingcingo ukuba nani nivakalise zenu izimvo. Our studio number ke is 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. Ukanti ungasithumelela ne-email ku-consumer@sabc.co.za okanye ke sindwendwele ku-Facebook page yethu ethi Yilungelo Lakho. Alternatively ungasithumelela ne-tweet ku@Yilungelo. Save today, be ready for tomorrow. This is the message from the South African Savings Institute. It urges consumers to be cautious about their spending this festive season, all in order to avoid financial stress in the new year. This year's campaign was launched jointly by the South African Savings Institute, the Financial Planning Institute, and the National Debt Mediation Association. Let's take a look at this story by our producer, Jobe Sitole.
Kubathenga abaningi ukhisimuzi uzobe usho ukuthi kumele bazivuze kahle. Emva konyaka omude, iningi ke lizothenga izinto kukade lizifuna. Izitolo nazo zizobe zingazibekile phansi ngezipesheli. Iningi labathengi lizobe liqaphe zona belu lezi pesheli. Izinhlangano ezilwela amalungelo abathengi zisanda kuba nemikhankaso egoli lapho ziyale khona abathengi ngokuthi kumele baqaphele ngemali yabo bangayimoshi. uMagauta Mphahlele ongumphathi we-National Debt Mediation Association uthi kumele abathengi becabange ngonyaka omusha uma bethola amabonasi abo.
Abaningi bethu asiyiplaneli iJanuary kaningi siyaspenda kakhulu ngoDecember makufika iJanuary asinamali ukuthi sibhadale izikole fees sithenge izincwadi zonke lezi zinto ama uniform izinto ezifuneka ngoJanuary so besithi kubantu masizameni ukuthi ngoDecember yebo sijabule kodwa sikwenze responsibly le bonus esithola sizama ukuthi sibhadale kancane izikoloto sisave for lama costs ngoJanuary.
Mphahlele uthi kumele abathengi bazithokozise. Uthi lokho kumele kwenziwe ngokucophelela nokho.
We are trying to say have a culture yokuba nebudget yokumonitora i-expenditure yakho nokuthi ungathathi izikoloto eziningi ezizokundlula isikhathi masiloko sihamba.
Kule nkqubo ye-South African Savings Institute lapho bekwethula lo mkhankaso wokonga ngokhisimuzi kuqhanjiswe kakhulu ukuthi abathengi abaningi bayacwila ezikweletini. Umthobisi Nhlabathi okhulumela iSASI uthi bakubona kusemqoka ukuba nalo mkhankaso ngoba kuyacaca ukuthi abathengi abafuni ukulalela uma kuthiwa abasulokhu bemosha imali ngesikhathi samaholide.
Uma kungukuthi njengabantu base South Africa asiyongi imali siyisebenzisa yonke sigcina seyikweledini ezinkulu kugcine umnotho wezwe ungakhoni ukuthi ukhule ngaleyo ndlela uhulumeni akakhona ukuthi ebe nemadlana angakhona ukuthi andise amathuba emsebenzi. Ngakho ke sibona ukuthi kubalekile ukuthi siloku sikhuthaza abantu sibagqugquzela ngalo kubaleka kokonga imali.
Nazi ezinye zezinto ezivezwe njengezingasiza. Yiba nemigomo ngonyaka omusha. Uma ubona indali, cabanga ukuthi ungonga kanjani. Yenza ibudget wazi ukuthi uyichitha kanjani imali. Yonga ngaso sonke isikhathi noma kuyimali encane. Qaphela ama-balloon payment uma uthenga imoto. Lezi ke ngezinye zezinto iSouth African Savings Institute ethemba ukuthi izosiza abathengi ukuthi bonge ngalo December bachithe nemali ngokwazi ukuthi useza uJanuary. Jobe Sithole, Yilungelo Lakho.
Ukunqokela banzi kaloku ngalomba wenkcitho-mali ngononophelo kwanokonga masamkela iindwendwe zethu sinovuyo ke ukwamkela uThoko Ntshabaleng yena osingathe imiba yokufundiswa kwabathengi phaya kwa-National Debt Mediation Association. We also extend a warm welcome to Professor Bernardine de Klerk, and she is the head of the Personal Finance Research Unit at the University of South Africa. Ladies, welcome to the program. Professor, let me start off with you, maybe just to open about discussion, and the big question, I suppose, is why South Africans do not save.
I think it's important that we distinguish there's different reasons for the different income groups. Your lower income groups, it's a position of survival. They've got a lot of expenses, they have huge amounts to transport, food, housing, and with little income. So it's very difficult for them to save, but there are some of them that really excel that do that. On your higher income group, some of them are guilty of living too high. It's really that the expenditure makes it very difficult for them to save. But again, there are some of them that do save. But I think it's also a priority. We start spending, and if anything is left, we will save. And there's never something left. But if we start with, I'm saving 10% and I'll spend the 90%, we should be able to save more.
Sisoko nina kwezi veki ziphelileyo kule veki iphelileyo I suppose ni yena bamba inkomfa netheke yajongana nokuba abantu bangaseva njani imali yabo. This was between the National Debt Mediation Association as well as with the Savings Institute. Injongo yenu yale nkomfa biyintoni?
Kunjalo Sisanda, beyikhona inkomfa efana naleyo on the 7th zayo yona lenyanga ephezulu. Sibona kunesidingo esikhathini esifana nalesi ukuthi sixwayise abantu ngendaba yokuthi babheke kanjani imali zabo. Yileso sikhathi lapho uthola ukuthi abantu abaningi bacabanga ukuthi imali iningi, okanye uDecember isikhathi sokuthi you just spend and be merry, ungakacabangisisi ukuthi uspenda kanjani. Ngaloko sibone kuyisikhathi esihle because kungaphambi kokuthi kuzophela inyanga, kungaphambi kokuthi kuzotholakala amabonus, kungaphambi kokuthi kufike lenjabulo enkulu. So ngiyathanda ukuthi mengikhuluma nabantu esikhathini esiningi ngibuyise i-reality kubo yokuthi kahle hle uDecember lo sikhuluma ngamalanga awungakhi 5. So therefore it means emalangeni awu5 there is definitely no need ukuthi abantu bathi go overboard. Ngaphandle kokuthi babhekisise ukuthi bazobe bespenda kanjani, because ukuthi adlule uDecember kusazofika isikhathi esibalekile futhi empilweni zabo esiuJanuary abantwana bethu bazobe bepasile umatric and we need them ukuthi bakwazi ukuqhubekela phambili. Kodwa uma si overuser or si overspender okanye siba careless, then it means bazoba stuck. So injongo yakho uxwayisa abantu ukuthi yebo siyafuna ukujabula kodwa masijabule sibuye nganeno.
Ndiyafuna ukwazi ndinomdla ukuba usichazele kabanzi when it comes to the issue of saving. Uprofessor usichazele uba bakhona abantu abakwaziyo ukusave, bakhona abangakwazi ukusave, but nina nifikelele njani ke kubantu bonke in terms of nale incinci oyifumanayo uyakwazi ukuba usave kuyo?
Ngiyawuthanda umbuzo wakho kakhulu ngoba eqinisweni uprofessor uright uma ethi labo abahola kancane bakhona abathi in any way there is nothing to save. But what is interesting ukuthi kukhona this middle ground labe mitha khona bonke, the both of them bakhuluma one specific language ekuthenini boy2 they are not saving, and kuba ngazathi it's a remote thing or it's foreign ukuthi they must start saving. Therefore uma ngi-addressa laba engingathi can I say lower income groups ukuthi yes bangacabanga ukuthi they are justified in saying there's nothing to save, but can I press on and say saving needs to become a habit. Ngamanye amagama akube yinjwayelo. Let it not be something that we're making so much noise about right now because sekuzofika December. Let it be something that you start from start to finish. If you put away in injongo yakho yonyaka, you know, in most cases we're saying January I'm going to bring up izinto engifuna ukuzi-achieve kulo nyaka. Let budgeting be one of them. And you can start small because nalo othola encane does not necessarily have to go too long and wait until they get too much money. But from the little that they have, save a little, uzokwazi ukuthi masekufika enkulu usu disciplined and being able to know what you're going to do with your money.
All right. Masibambe up. Okay, for now, let's take an ad break. But before we do that, let me remind you that you can take part in today's program by calling us on 011-714-6918 or 714-6919, or send us an email to consumer@sabc.co.za. Visit our Facebook page as well, Yilungelo Lakho, or send us a tweet to @Yilungelo. Masiphinde sikwamkele kwakhona mbukelo sabukele inkqubo Yilungelo Lakho, it's your right. Ke sisazaza ngqo ku-SABC 1 Mzansi. For sure to take part, please call us on 011-714-6918 okanye 714-6919. Masithumelela ke ne-email ku-consumer@sabc.co.za okanye usindwendwele ke kwi-Facebook page yethu @Yilungelo Lakho okanye wasilandela ke kwi-tweet ku@Yilungelo. Ngelithuba ke ndiyafuna ukwamkela our guest, and that's Tsulu Dihuto from the Financial Planning Institute. Tsulu, welcome to the program. Let me ask you then, because you were part of this conference that was hosted by SASI as well as by the NDMA, on your thoughts about saving in Mzansi Afrika, as well as injongo zenu zale nkomfa benithena ibamba.
I think more basis importance yokusava in South Africa, it still needs to be, prominent. Tina, as a Financial Planning Institute, to be involved with the campaign is to, what sense sibonise abantu ukuthi ukusava doesn't necessarily mean for to be nemali.
It means.
So as little as unayo, even if imali lo boyisava, it's 100 rand or 200 rand, it to a long way. Are we sebenzisi just because you have imali? So coming into that plate, from the Financial Planning Institute to Google, okay, abantu futhi basave. But as a Financial Planning Institute, sibabonisa kanjani ukuthi what means are out there. As a thina phela si provider ama-financial planners. So thina sezasho ukuthi the financial planners out there bayakunikeza advice, sound, or singathi ke eqotho for abantu, because abanye bayithatha as if i-financial planner umuntu uzobathengisela a certain product or bathi ubathenga life cover. But the Financial Planning Institute is from campaign your savings festive season campaign, we also have in my money 1, 2, 3, and that's when we come in as a financial planning. It's whole part your savings. So from ISASI to get into savings in a city, before you get to savings, where do you need to start?
Okay. Niyeke ngoku, especially xa seniqalile icampaign eseniqalile, nanku umuntu esiza kuna akazazi uba makaqale ndawoni na, nihlala naye phansi nithini?
First step esiyenzayo, I think mangizosebenzisa my money 1, 2, 3 i-program. Le program siyenzele wonke umuntu ose South Africa. So asithi for ubhadale, it's free. Sikhona contact ilona institute, thina sizokuphuta in contact nomuntu ozokunikeza that consultation. Asisho ukuthi advice, it's consultation, because remember ukuthi for uhlale naye lo muntu ubona ukuthi ama needs akhe yini. And phela yazi ukuthi thina sithanda into moyibona uyayifuna awidingi, you just uyayifuna at that time. So thina hlala nawe phansi sithi okay, taking my money 1, 2, 3 steps sokuqala from my money 1 ukuthi personal management yakho, your finance. So how do you get to be in that state ukuthi okay, now I can move forward to step 2. Step 2 said he dead. So we look at, do you have it dead, and why unayo le debt? It's because ku step 1 azange uhlale ubeka i-budget plan yakho wenze all the step esikunikeze zona. When basifika ku step 2 sithi okay, une debt. How do we make sure ukuthi ubona ukuthi usebenzisa kanjani imali yakho to minimize i-debt? And I think the most important thing about photo by konto ukuthi if une debt angeke ukuthi ufuna ukusave, uzosavani?
Ngoba afuna ukuqala ngamatyala akho. Masibambe apho kwangoku. Sisithoko ndiyavuya ukhona ngoba ndinento ethi xa unetyala abantu baye bangazazi mama baqale ngeliphi na kulamatyala banawo. Ingcebiso yakho ingathini?
Ngiyayithanda i-direction ayithathayo uThulu, because kuyiqiniso ukuthi when you say you want to save, you've got to start ngokuthi ususe izikweleti. But then khumbula izikweleti ziningi. you know, ukhuluma nabantu on a daily basis. I meet people above got 15, 16 creditors, believe it or not, or even more. Manje, mangihlala naloyo muntu, kufanele ngim-advise ukuthi where to start. La kukuhle khona ukuqala ngaso lesikhathi esikiso manje towards festive season, towards bonuses, towards certain lump sums. Engathi mhlawumbe yena lo obekade nezikoloto ebekade ezibekela zona, whether through i-clubs esinazo emalokishini, whether through imishayelwano, thatha leyo mali uyothi lesesincane, mengithe sincane ngisho ukuthi esisele ngebalance encane ususe endleleni. In a way lokho kuzokusiza ukuthi ubone umahluko wenzayo as you start the new year. So musukujabula kakhulu mawuthola lo mshayelo zakuwe okanye uthola le bonus ezakuyo, whatever what lump sum ozobe uyithola. Cabanga kahle ukuthi ufuna ukuzithola phi njengoba esho uThulu ukuthi where do you want to see yourself in a particular period. So uma unenjongo kuba easy for wena ukubeka certain goals ezizokwenza ukuthi this 12 or 15 creditors come next year July 5 of them must be down, and ukuthi 5 ibe down you need that plan ukuthi how do you get there. So konke okuncane extra okutholayo use it to your benefit ukuze ukuthi abanye abantu mebejabula nawe ukwazi ukujabula ngesikhathi esizayo.
Professor Benedine, you're from a personal finance research unit. Yes. So then I assume that you do studies just to see the trends of our saving patterns in the country. I do want to say that the global economic conditions are putting pressure on a lot of countries, and so ours is not an exception in that. Would you say this has exposed South Africans' vulnerabilities in terms of their income, in terms of their expenditure, their savings, their debt? What do the latest stats reveal?
Yeah. We've just released on Wednesday the third quarter's results on the Consumer Financial Vulnerability Index, and it's exactly as you said. Given the international position, the forecast for South Africans' positions is not well at all. That has an impact on the employment situation. It won't improve in the short term. We don't foresee any growth in the short term that will enhance that type of position. That tells us that the income streams of consumers are still under threat. Given that they might have overspent in the past, we're all aware that they saved very little, if at all, so there's no resources. They had to turn to debt to finance the expenditure pattern, and that created a huge level. Our index dropped from 58% in the first quarter to 48 points in the second quarter to 47 points in the third quarter, telling us consumers are really struggling. The vulnerability index is a bit of an emotional index. It's not a hardcore index of stating it's so much over-indebted, but it tells us how consumers are feeling about their ability to cope financially. And this deterioration tells us consumers are not coping. They're really feeling pressured, and especially in terms of their debt servicing, it has declined dramatically in the last year. So they're using debt for different sources, for substituting expenditure or to pay for expenditure because the income streams are not there. It's not a sustainable position. There's this whole debate of the unsecured, why is this growth in unsecured lending happening in the past year? And it's part of it is survival. Part of it is reckless lending, part of it is reckless borrowing, but it's a combination of factors for consumers, but they're really strained at the moment.
In fact, Treasury had a meeting with, or they're planning to have a meeting with financial and non-financial institutions on such issues of personal lending, personal loans and unsecured lending. Can this go a long way in aiding South Africans from this over-indebtedness? Yeah,
it will definitely assist a lot. I think it's a great position that we're currently in, given that everybody's talking together. It's long overdue. There was a lot of initiatives, but everyone almost had a personal interest. Now it came together, and it's exactly like this type of association we are talking about now. That on one side you've got the debt association talking to the savings side. It's the same purse we're talking about from the consumer side, but it's no longer debt not talking to savings, because we need to understand that. And that's why Treasury is also extending out a hand to say, how can we help? But the consumer must also be responsible and participate in this process. He is also at fault. A lot of them is part of the problem. It's not all of us are victims. Some of us is really the culprits. And we have to be honest about this with one another as well. And I think that's the debate that needs to be sorted out. And how do we educate the people to make the right decisions? This 1-2-3 plan of the Financial Planning Institute is a wonderful initiative, but it asks you as a consumer to participate. It doesn't help. You've got January, you've got this big plan for the rest of the year. Come the middle of January, everything is gone and out of the door. So it has to be disciplined, perseverance, participating in this whole process, and be honest with yourself, be honest with your family. We talked to a credit provider or microloaner a week ago, and he told us about the stories. The father comes, it's his daughter's matric party that we just had. How does he tell his daughter, I don't have money for your matric dress? And it's a very emotional thing. But he has to sit down and talk to his daughter and say, I would love to give it to you. Can't we compromise, or can't we do something? But that emotional side, because the father knows he can't afford it.
All right, let's hold it right there. Masiphinde ke sithi evenkleni xa sesihlangana ke sawubuya emveni kwale evenkile. Please don't go away. Welcome back. You're still on Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. Coming to you live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Siqhubeka ngxoxo yethu ke ephethelene nokonga. uMzantsi Afrika lelinye lamazwe apho isiko lokonga lisilele kakhulu. Yilonto uluntu lweli lubopheleleke ematyaleni angapha kunoko benako ke ukuzana kwezindlini. Now to take part in this show, please call us on 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. You can also send us an email to consumer@sabc.co.za. or alternatively send us or visit our Facebook page to Yilungelo Lakho, or send us a tweet to @Yilungelo. Before the ad break, Professor Benedine, you touched on an emotional angle to this whole issue, and South Africa is said to be amongst the worst when it comes to parents talking to children about money.
Yeah. I think it's part of a culture that we need to enhance, to say there's nothing wrong to sit down with your children and have a realistic expectation for them, to say this is what it's happened, this is what it cost us to put you into school, this is what the life cost is about, because children need to understand that. And children are actually growing up in a cashless environment. You've got this card, and this card is the answer to all your problems, but they don't understand there has to happen something, money has to go in before it comes out. For them it's an unlimited resource. But that puts a lot of pressure on the parents to abstain that what they would like to perceive for the children. But to sit down with them at a very young age, you can start to tell them, take responsibility. With my own children, when you went to the shop, they wanted everything. Then we changed it and say, there's your pocket money, you can have whatever you want, this is what you can afford. And that's the type of measurement that we have to put in. It's sometimes to be cruel, but to be honest, that they must understand, and that would give them a path for life. But if we bring them up in an illusion type of way, they don't have the reality check of, I can't afford this now, I'm saving it, I'm buying a television on cash. I don't buy television on credit. That's why I'm not buying the television this month. I'm saving for 3 months, and then we can have the television. Right. We have to be honest with the children in that regard.
It is true. Especially githi thina abantu sizwe simnyama ngoba sinale attitude yokuthi umntwana kufanele akhule ngendlela ethize. Ngicabanga ukuthi iperception yokuthi sicabanga ukuthi kunesinye isizwe esenza kangcono kunathi, whereas kufanele sibheke ireality yokuthi thina la ekhaya sifuna ukuthi egcineni labantwana bakhule abantwana banjani, to such an extent that when you take it low to the basics ke manje, let them earn that pocket money that the professor is referring to. I want people to make the kids to earn it. Ngamanye amagama, uma ewasha ikar, makathole umvuzo ukuthi uwashe imoto. Makawasha izitsha, makathole umvuzo ukuthi uwashe izitsha. Maka clean ibed yakhe, makathole umvuzo. In that way, the little akayitholayo uzokwazi ukufunda ukuthi kanti ngoba iyasetshenzela kufanele iphatheke kahle. But if ubafundisa indlela yokuthi I will give your pocket money anyway, then that culture isuka ibanzima ukuthi uyi-inculcate. Ngamanye amagama uzokwazi ukuthi ngayimosha manje, I get my pocket money every Sunday evening, so another Sunday evening is coming, I'm gonna get it anyway. So I change it around and say masibafundiseni ekuthenini uma eseyisavile and uyayifuna le iPod or whatever the case is, mina I will say to her, put it on your table, let's put it on the table, uphethe malini, because this is how much I can add on. But if they come being a savanga, when are they going to start learning? Hence, uzobathola sebesenkingeni yokuthi they are still working, but they are still asking mommy for money. You know, he's staying in a flat, but he's still asking for mommy for money because they never had that culture. Yokuthi from the beginning, as soon as they know ukuthi if 5 rand iyatenga, then they must know that they need.
In fact, naxa sebezihlalela abantwana if la culture khange bayifunde kwasebuncinci babo ebuncinaneni babo, it's difficult again bakwazi umanage imali yabo naxa bebadala.
That's true. That's true. Hence, mama endlini, mawuhola nge-25, they will be the first ones to know. They will be the first ones to know. So stop right there. Teach them right from the beginning. Uzobona umahluko ozoba khona empilweni yabo.
Ndiyafuna ukuza kwi-issue yokubana mhlawumbi le nto is it linked to abantu bangazi i-importance yokuba basave?
Yeah, all right. I think ile nto ukuthi asitsheli akunama resources out there enough ukuthi abantu bazi ukuthi you know mangifuna ukusave ngiqala phi. If angikhona ukusave ngisase ne problem or the simple njenge budget. I think abantu bayebalekela indaba budget. Uyazi ukuthi every month for to hlale ungayenza ibudget mosuholile. Hlala phansi before imali yakho ingena. Uthi imali before ingena izinto futhi ngizibhadala. Is back to the fact you professor yokuthi abantwana futhi uhlale nabo. Uyazi ukuthi sina siyasaba ukuthi ngihlale nomntwana ngim-explain ukuthi ama-expenses ethu endlini ahamba kanje. I-school fees sakhe naso basingene lapho ukuthi naye yabona ukuthi okay kushuthi umama or ubaba uspend imali engaka for mina, and at the end kuyaba ukuthi okay umama I know ukuthi sometimes thina asingeke simbone ukuthi sihola malini, but ayikho into wrong bungahlala umntwana ukuthi income yile ila imali engena endlini imali ephumayo yile, and emakahleli uya-understand ukuthi but doesn't ukuthi mayiseyiphumile leya lehlele singayispenda nje futhi explain ukuthi le esele why isele iyaphi iyosetshenziswa for ini mayiphuma lapho, and nabazali nabo futhi ba-understand ukuthi uma sithi kubo saver, it doesn't mean saver 10,000 or 1,000 rand, as little as you can. As into ibiza ukuthi emergency cash fund, noba ngaba i-piggy bank ehlala lapha endlini uthenga isinko usala nge-5 rand ifake lapha, naye it teaches umntwana ukuthi oh makune-coin or resele from my pocket money ngiyakwazi ukuyifaka lapha isebenza for imali yasendlini. Leyo emergency fund cash fund iyosebenza for other expenses ezingena endlini. Ungayize ukuthi ifridge yamoshakala ufuna ukuyi-repair ingaphuma kuleyo emergency cash fund.
I'm looking at one of the messages on Facebook. A young person, if I'm getting this correctly, but a young person is basically saying, I'm young and I don't want to fall into the trap of having debts. And I mean, it's a trend that we see in, day out. Young people are not even working, or they just started working and they're opening these big accounts and whatnot. Your advice?
Sure. They become trapped very early while at tertiary. Baba nikeza cards, especially for retail, you know, fashionable clothing stores, where bazi ukuthi baza accessa bagqoke for a particular occasion, later on they are owing. Now I like the direction this young person is taking. Yoguti, I don't want to be in the same trap. Lo muntu urealistic. Ngamanye amagama akazobuswa ukuthi abangani banani. This person is looking at themselves and they are saying, I don't want to be there. So they are on the right track. Let them ignore any temptation that would be coming their way. Njengokuthi umuntu athola ikhadi kuthiwa ngene stolo uli-activate. This young person is not going to be tempted. So maga focus on what she wants. Maga focus ekuthenini the television that the professor alluded to earlier, the example, which I'm going to buy it for cash. And while on that, I want to specifically say there's good debt, there's bad debt. So ikwelete hayi ukuthi zimbi zonke. Kukhona ikwelete njengokuthi ngifuna ukuthenga indlu, where do I get cash from? You understand? Bese kuba khona nekwelete njengokuthi I need this car for my job. For me to earn, I need to have a car. That becomes a good debt because it's gonna bring back income endlini. You understand? But all the other debt, really, abantu let them look back and decide. It's a decision thing. It's a disciplinary thing. Do I want it? Oganye, do I need it or do I want it? Uma singaqala sihlukanise lapho. And we are so tired of hearing abantu ukuthi but we don't have money anyway, we earn little. You know what? I've never met anyone in this kind of job that I'm doing. People who earn, who mangbabheka ngibona ukuthi yazi lo muntu uyahola. But you know what? They still come and tell me, abanamali, it's not enough. So when is it going to be enough?
Kancinane nje nasafunike siye evenkileni ndiyafuna ukwazi lo mfundi xa sesengxakini ke ngoku uye athini yena. Kancinane nje.
Kufanele consulte ngoba inkinga uzoyibona iseselula uma eqale wabudgeta. Therefore that would mean start making arrangements and stop right there.
All right. Masibambi apho. For now, let's take another ad break. Masibane ke xa sibuya. Siphinde sinamkele babukeli sihlabele phambili ke ngencoko yethu kwanengcebiso ezibalulekileyo kuni bathengi. Indwendwe zam kaloku endishukuxa nazo lo mba nguthoko Ntshabale ngovela kwiofisi National Debt Mediation Association. Sibe naye ke nonjingalwazi uBernardine de Klerk ophuma ke kwiuniversity oiUNISA kwanothulu Dihutso yena ke osisithethi se-Financial Planning Institute. Phambi koba siye evenkileni sithethe kabanzi ngokubaluleka kokuba abantu bakwazi ukuseva, especially if uqala usemncinane nale culture sifuna uzama uza nayo ngoku where our parents talk to kids about money. What I'm also interested in about your campaign as the Financial Planning Institute as well as the NDMA is whether you are taking this campaign to schools.
Yeah, I think to schools there's a few campaigns that will be running. Ngizoqala ngale a partnership with the South African Savings Institute. Campaign it's Savings Month, which is always between July. This is where we go to schools, and now it's from grade 6, grade 4, 5, 6, and 7. And it's in line in a economic management science subject as well, because that's where they're taught the basic is the needs and wants. The economic element is a mali. We take that syllabus. It's part it developed obviously from the Department of Basic Education. So and then we give the basic from my institute, from the institute how we link Ilona, syllabus, EMS as it's called, Nelon, the Savings Institute or financial planning. But apart from that as well, we have a varsity literacy campaign. So now we're going into the higher educations. As should we forget about those kids, about high school, grade 8 until grade 12. That's when a campaign nice from beginning of next year where we target those high secondary school. Now, but understand, although we always say it's better to start when they're still young. So we bring it from the lower level, school, to the middle until by university. And I think the previous viewer should also answer magas agafuna ukufala into the trap yokuthi magase neyikweleti wenza. We try and avoid which bafika to that state.
All right. Sinaye ke uThulileni from Pietermaritzburg. Thulileni owamkelekile enkqubeni?
Yebo sisanda njani?
Ngiyaphila sisikunjani?
Ngiyaphila. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi lapha ePietermaritzburg zikhona yini izikole zokufundisa ngokuphathwa kwemali? Abazaziyo labo abo lapha e-studio.
Alright, enkosi kakhulu ke sisi ngombuzo wakho namhlanje. She's in Pietermaritzburg and she wants to know xa abantu befuna ufunda ngemali kufuneka benze njani na? Nendawo anoya kuyo or izikole. Specifically the question was izikole.
Eyikweleni abantu abaningi aba interested kwindaba yemali baqala kulama subject akhuluma ngawo uThulu ukuthi then uzochoose o accounting, uzochoose o bookkeeping, uzochoose economic sciences. Then when you are in that field kubalula for you uqala kwenza isense in terms of imali, whether it's at high school or uma ngabe uku adult school as well. Yama subjects ekufanele uthi ukwaqaphela kakhulu, especially uma umama ebheke ekuthenini ufuna ukuthi naye ngelinye ilanga akwazi ukusiza umphakathi wakhe okanye kube abantwana abalandela leyo line of duty in terms of kusasa bazokwazi ukuba abantu aba responsible. Then coming back to indaba yezikolo ukuthi iziphi ezi right now sitargete kakhulu the varsity students, tertiary institutions, because sibonile ukuthi bahama easy targets. You remember the SMSs that people continuously get, ukuthi you have qualified for 20,000 as a personal loan or whatever the case is, people get excited, they don't understand. Now, why sithi baba ama soft target? It's because ngoba banayo le understanding yokuthi ingahle bamoshele ifuture. Remember, uma angena kule ikweleti ase college or ase university, uma eqala eyofuna umsebenzi kungukuthi they didn't conduct them well. This is one of the things that blocks them from getting umsebenzi, because then they become blacklisted and they don't understand how ngaba blacklisted kwakwenze njani. Kanti it's how they conducted those small little retail shops or those small little loans that they took. So let's all open our eyes and our ears. Sikwazi ukuzwa ukuthi what is happening. Esakhuluma ngeMaritzburg usisi, there's a big campaign as well that has been called by the MEC ukuthi mabahambe bangene mabavule nala ku radio baya batshela ukuthi mababe kuphi. Tomorrow it's the 17th. It's happening in Pietermaritzburg. I'm not sure of the details, but I know ukuthi SABC radio Sizulu, it's actually broadcasting that.
Right.
It's one of the campaigns zokuthi abantu mabaqale batholi information.
All right. I hope sikwazile umphendulo uthuli on her question. Masibuyele kwindaba, maybe the tips on becoming a, I'll say super saver, you know, because we have to start little. Maybe let me start off by saying live economically.
Live economically, be honest about who you are. There is no way you will be able to succeed if you continuously compare yourself to the kunenes, right? Ngiyayithanda indaba ye-spar box. We used to call them that. I-spar box, it's a savings box. And these days, it's fancy. You go to these shops, there's nice, beautiful, you know, teddy bears, eziamas. Put it in there. Start small so that you will know what you will use it wisely. When we say spend wisely, we are referring to, isn't this fun? When you see they are saying sale, when not to you, save must click.
Okay.
So those are the tips that we are saying to people. It's just simple basics.
Especially when you know you don't need something.
And if you can't afford it, oh please, don't buy it. It's as easy as that.
All right. Developing a saving mindset, Professor Benedine?
Yeah, I want to add on to what she actually said. Don't save yourself into bankruptcy, because there's a lot of sales currently, but it's nice to have things. It's not things that you need. Be honest with what you need. But I think it's then important to take stock. What are your priorities for the next year? A lot of us will getting paid in the next few days for middle December, and we have to survive till end of January. How are you going to do that? Set up a plan now. This is your responsibilities for January. This is your responsibilities for February. Pay the school fees if that's part of what you need to pay, or sort that out. Take your budget or your bonus, 50%, and put it away for January's expenses. And then you can still have some luxuries in December. I think it would be completely irrational of us to think nobody will be there's some festive season. We want to enjoy the festive season, but enjoy it responsibility with your kids. Have fun at home. If you can't afford to go on holiday, you can have a marvelous time at home. Camp in the garden. Do something that you've never done before at home. That will be much cheaper, but just as fun.
All right. We do have another caller on the line. Gugu from Soweto. Gugu, Yilungelo Lakho. Gugu. Okay, Gugu, it seems like she is not there. Hopefully she'll try us once again. I wanted to find out attitudes, you know, when it comes to savings.
Ufuna uku-add kuleli bayishila ngithi sometimes umuntu wenza izinto just because you want to live up nokhumalozo nokhunenes. One of the tips engayithola bathi pause and think. Should more you-one or uhlele endlini uyazibuza ukuthi ngiplanele lento le, or is it into nje engiyifunayo just nje esithubeni ngizoyi-afforda. Maybe I cannot even afford ne repayment, even but the lowest minimum payment angeke ngikhona uku-afford. Why should I go there? And it's always in mindset. So when you pause and think, I think it changes people's mindset. Because uhleli and endlini uyazibuza ukuthi mara ngiyayifuna, but can I buy it somewhere else where it's cheaper? Why must I go buy a brand ephezulu ngidluleka makhumalo because unalo legedlele but mina ngifunela ingcono ukufuna elifana, you know, and so uhamba so uyothenga ibrand elona ephezulu.
It will take a change of attitude. Sinayeke uLJ from KZN. LJ wamkelekile Nkqubeni?
Hayi Mrs. Wami njani?
Ndiphilile tata kunjani?
Ngikhona nami. uyazi ukuthi ngiyayithanda lento ediscusswa wosisi lapho. That's the problem ukuthi thina sikwazi ukuthi sisebenzise imali. Like for instance manje sesiku Christmas, right? And omama bethu badlala istokfel and everything. Uthola ukuthi yonke le mali abasuke beaccumulate unyaka wonke bavele bayiwaste once ngokuthi bathenga ukudla instead yokuthi bathathe leyo mali leyo bayi-invest the following year keep on investing. And it's easy ukuthi bakwenze lokho, but angazi ukuthi le culture yokuthi siwaste ukuthi siyithathaphi abantu.
All right, enkosi kakhulu ku-LJ. Sibulela kakhulu ke ku-LJ. Let's take another ad break. Please don't go away. Well, welcome back. Ngikwamkele kaloku umbukeli kwinkqubo yethu Yilungelo Lakho. We do have Gugu on the line. Gugu, wamkelekile enkqubeni?
Hi, Sisanda.
Hi, Gugu.
Hi, Mina. I work for a financial institution. And as we educate our clients too, and we educate everyone, this is how you handle the money. Don't just come in for a loan, massive phone. Still, they still come in. As much as I'm a consultant as well in a financial institution, I'm also in debt. It's just the circle that keeps going round and round. As much as in Pajeta, and I plan this month, I'm going to do this before I get paid. I have family, I have parents, there's my mom's medication and so on. So somehow, the circle continues.
All right, Gugu, thank you very much for your contribution. And that's a reality, I suppose, in South Africa. Many of us are trapped because there are just debts we can't avoid. You know, and people don't find it easy then to save little by little. But I suppose even the message now is for you to say, okay, firstly, because you did touch on this, that start with your debt and then move on if you want to start saving and changing that mindset. I'm very much grateful that you called because I almost missed a question that I wanted to find out, whether financial institutions are playing enough role in educating people about their saving options. Let me talk to you, Professor, on that one.
I think they're starting to look at it a more broader based. I think in the past it was a lot product driven and there was almost not the real truth behind education. If we talk about loan, just coming back to her point that she just made, do you really educate the person, giving him the loan? This is what it will cost you over 3 years, giving that you started with 3,000, you're going to end with 12,000 Rand that you have to pay back. Are we really honest with that? And I think there is changes giving that the education from the financial institutions is picking up. I think it goes back to a lot of the laws that came into act, the Consumer Protection Act. There's a lot of forcing their hand to be more transparent with the fee structures, with everything happening, that they now have to look broader. So I think there's definitely a movement in education, but there's still a lot that we can do.
And so looking at your campaign right now, just some aspects of it, I understand that you'll be running a series of workshops around. Is it a national program, firstly?
There's two different campaigns, but they talk almost the same elements. When the campaigns, a workshop that will be starting from today at KZN, so these are run from savings element. They will carry on throughout dates, and then from Financial Planning Institute, in conjunction with this, it's in a financial planning week.
Okay.
So from the 24th of this month, so 24th and 25th, Siaguma different malls in South Africa. So in Joburg, Cresta, in Menlyn Park, and we will be there as the Financial Planning Institute. Remember what understand imali, it's not only about savings, ne budget. There's a whole aspect of financial planning as a whole. So even if the mali, investment comes in lab, our life planners lab. So that's where we come in.
Abantu bazawufumana njani inkcukacha zezi workshops that you're running across South Africa?
So les services run on both websites. Les from today. South African Savings Institute website, banazo ilon is schedule sakona, and then from the FPI website as well, www.fpi.co.za. When the landing page is all about consumer campaigns, so all the campaigns that will be running, it's free consultation, so they can even meet practices where they can meet on one-on-one. So we've got all the list consultant practices where they can book an appointment and go speak to consultant.
Abanye abantu bethu abanayo access to website, nifikelela njani kwabo bantu?
Ngithanda ukuthi ngithathe this opportunity nginikezele ngama date kubabukeli bakho ukuze bakwazi ukuthi they can diarize them. Like iKZN uCCR refera kiyo, it's happening tomorrow. Kuzobe kwenzakala eNquthu lapho kuzobe kune team lethu representer South African Savings Institute NDMA nayo
that's tomorrow. Masibambe apo after this caller, then we can continue with those dates. Oma was on the line, but she's not on the line. We do apologize for that. Hopefully she'll try us again. You can continue.
Elandelayo date is on the 26th of November. Izobe yenzakala Western Cape. Izobe yenzakala elokishini. I don't have the exact name, but it's this popular township.
It's not
Cape
Kylie.
Town. It's Khayelitsha. Yes, Khayelitsha. Izobe yenzakala lapho in the community hall. So kumenywa noma ubani na.
All right.
And then bese kube nge 27th ka November izobe yenzeka eThabazimbi eLimpopo. Nalapho futhi wonke umuntu uyamenywa. Kukhona indawo ekuthiwa yi Dwarboom Lyre School lapho. And then bese kube ne 29 ezobe yenzeka eMpumalanga eNkangala lapho nakhona kumenywa umphakathi ozobukhona. Bese eyogcina ke izokwenzeka eMafikeng on the 30th of November. Izokwenzeka eBarolong Batlowu Authority Hall.
All right. Thank you very much for that information. It's nayo Linda from Mthatha. Linda wamkelekile Nkqubeni?
Hello.
Hi Sisi.
Igama lami ndinguLinda Khumba. Ndivile
Linda umamele TV.
Ndivile ngetopic ye.
Linda ngicela undenze ndiyacela Sisi ucima iTV ukuze uzokwazi uthetha kakuhle kunye nathi.
Oh.
Okay, even the line dropped, and I think that's all the time we had for today. We would like to thank our guests for being with us today. Sibulele nani ke emakhaya ngokubani benathi kude kube ngoku ke masiphinde ke sidibane for another live consumer affairs show apha ku SABC1 from 1:30 until 2:30. Awufuna impinda ke zenkqubo yethu, you can check us on Mondays from 9:30 until 10:30 on SABC1. Ukuvakalisa ke izimvo zenu ngenkqubo yethu, you can send us an email to consumer@sabc.co.za or send us a fax to 011-714-6420 or visit our Facebook page Yilungelo Lakho okanye ke usindwendwele kwiTwitter yethu kuTwitter, and our Twitter handle there is @Yilungelo. Well, from me, Sisanda Jonas and the entire team, it's goodbye. Nibe nexesha elimnandi.
Impolo awungela wemnganwa